all the work that I do, both as an academic and a professional, is really about this. It's trying to make exercise matter for us and for the people that we work with. The first thing, I throw this picture up, and it's very deliberate on my part, because every time I see it, it reminds me of the things that are really important to me. And anybody ever been to the south of France? Yeah? It's awesome, right? Yeah. So this is the south of France, and there was this little cove, and everybody kind of hanging out on the beach in the cove. The only way to get there was either by hiking through the mountains or by paddling by kayak to get to this. And so if you're not physically active, if you don't have the physical abilities to get there, well, you can't take advantage of the amazing opportunity that is the south of France. And so this is just a reminder for me on what are the things that are important for me. So before we get into the gist of the talk, just a question for you guys. If we're all thinking about health and wellness and maybe the exercise, physical activity piece, what does success look like for you? Or what are the things that you guys hold value in? Stress! Don't like stress, right? It's not our friend. Okay, so we can be physically active. We can use exercise to make sure that we are in a good mental state. Who likes getting hurt? You like getting hurt? No. Okay, so part of the reason we might be active is to avoid some of those injuries that so many people are sustaining. What are you going to say?
I was just going to say more about the prevention of chronic disease.
Love it.
The cost to society and individuals is huge.
Oh, you're thinking bigger picture. Okay, so I like it. So yes, I don't want to get a chronic disease either, but the burden on society, both economically, personally. And so these are things that, when we think about what success looks like, the interventions that we're creating, it's that stuff as well. And so here's just a bunch of things that we think about, when we're thinking about what does a successful type of intervention look like. It's the prevention of depression and high blood pressure and diabetes and low back pain and obesity. Things like this, they're having a huge effect on society right now. Okay, and so just to kind of summarize all this, oftentimes when we're thinking about what success looks like, it's the absence of disease. But I also want to highlight that that's not the only way to think about this. It's not necessarily as positive as maybe what's it going to give me. So not what's it going to take away, but what can it allow me to do? And so it's also all this stuff. Okay, so it is the adventure. I want to be able to hike through the mountains. I want to be able to participate in all the activities that I like to do now for as long as I want to do them. Okay, it is the positivity. It's the family. It's having lots of energy. So when we're thinking about what exercise can do for us, think about all that stuff. Like exercise really is that magic pill that can help all this stuff. It's going to help us avoid a lot of the chronic conditions that we see all the time. But it's also going to give us the opportunity to just play and enjoy life. To have exercise impact those things that are truly important to us, we really have to think about this as daily behavior. Okay, it's not as simple as just saying, hey, go do a bunch of stuff at the gym and then magically this is going to change a whole bunch of stuff, because we develop habits over time. It's like, some people like hitting the snooze button in the morning. You do that enough, it becomes a habit. And it's going to be hard to break. Question for you guys. Who likes to exercise? Well, that's pretty good. Now, if you guys think about your family members, how many of them like to exercise? Yeah, fewer. You guys got pretty active families. Now, what about your colleagues? How many of them like to exercise? It's like kind of half up. Okay, so what if instead of the term exercise, I put in physical activity? Would that change anything for you guys? Change your perception of what this is. What if I put in yoga? What if I put in CrossFit? What if I put in Zumba? Okay, it's going to change your perception about what it is that we're actually doing. So oftentimes when we're trying to sell the word exercise, some of the reasons people don't want to be involved is because of their perception of the word and what we're actually implying, when that might not be true at all. Okay, so getting you guys to think just how we market this, how we sell this is going to be very important in terms of uptake. So if I said, who likes to exercise, a lot of people don't think like this. Okay, so this is me on the left over here. I like to challenge myself. I like to see what type of limits I have. My daughter, on the other hand, she's still super young, but we're teaching her. Okay, and she starts to enjoy this stuff. So not everybody gets pleasure at the moment out of exercise. And so we have to get people thinking a little differently about what, one, exercise looks like, and then two, what benefits they can kind of get from it. Realizing that not everybody wants this. I hope this is the message, or this is kind of the big thing that we can all get behind. It really is getting more people, more active, more often. So how do we do that? Okay, one of the biggest barriers I think people cite is time. Okay, but, I don't know if you guys are aware, there's evidence that as little as 3 minutes can make a massive difference. Okay, so we've started a little kind of initiative called 5 Minutes of Fun. There's little things that we can all do every single day that don't require you going to the gym. You can do it in your underwear. Doesn't look like the typical exercise stuff, but you can still get the benefits of being active. And so again, it's changing the perception, attacking some of the barriers that people commonly cite. And so you know what? There's ways to get around those barriers. I'm sure we're all super busy. We don't have, most of us anyways, don't have an hour to go to the gym. I'm here, you don't need to. There's so much you can do outside of that environment. So let's think differently about what exercise looks like and how we can integrate that into our lives, acknowledging some of the barriers that we have. Okay, like I said, the whole more people, more active, more often, I view this as a shared responsibility. So I'm going to share with you guys kind of 4 steps that I think that we can all work on collectively to actually make this a reality. And the first one is we need to inspire a change in attitude or perception amongst the people that we work with. And so like I said, this is getting people to think differently about what exercise looks like, what it feels like, and what impact it can have. Time was one of the barriers that we mentioned. People think that I don't have time for this. I need to be in a gym to do it. I need, all these resources. I don't like to sweat. I don't want to be sore. Hear this all the time. So if that's the reality, that's what we're dealing with. How can we think differently about this? Part of what we're trying to do is provide some resources to people to show them what this looks like in reality. So this is an example. Me in my office saying we can be active absolutely anywhere. Okay, it doesn't need to go to the gym. I got 5 minutes between classes. We can do something like this. And so we're not just talking the talk. It's let's show them what this can look like. In 5 minutes, it can get you going pretty good. So that's one example. How many people at the airport, you're walking around, and you see people sleeping on the floor all the time, but you never see people exercising? Why is it acceptable to sleep on the floor, but not to be active? So we can get them thinking differently about this. So we had a few minutes before we're boarding. Let's, be active a little bit. Don't have time, can't fit it in when we go home. We can fit it in absolutely anywhere. Okay, again, getting people to think differently. We have so much time waiting for the plane. Okay, so this is just me in a hotel room. Every time I travel, I try and give different examples. You guys have heard the term hygiene before, right? Hygiene, defined as practices conducive to maintaining health and preventing disease. Let's stick movement in front of it. Every single day, let's practice movement hygiene. Like we practice oral hygiene. We brush our teeth morning and night, most of the time. We can be doing things from a movement standpoint to reinforce the same type of ideas. It doesn't have to be big and elaborate. If every single person was taking 3 minutes, 5 minutes before they brush their teeth, either in the morning or before they go to bed, and focus on some of this movement hygiene, these little things that don't require crazy pieces of equipment, we can make a massive difference. But this requires us to collectively start thinking differently about what exercise looks like and how we make this accessible to absolutely everybody. Okay, that's going to be step number 1. We got to get people to think differently, to get buy-in to this whole idea of exercise. Second piece is now we can start to inform, on some of the really important information, the stuff that we know to be true from what the evidence is saying. It's knees, backs, and shoulders. There's 3 things that we can all be doing regardless of where we are. This is, at home in your underwear. This is, playing some type of recreational sport. This is in the gym. Doesn't matter. 3 things that we can all be doing to make us a little bit safer. Okay? And I'm going to have maybe Kyle come up and help me out with a little demo here. Okay, we're going to start with the knees. So I'm going to have you guys maybe just do a squat for us. I want you guys watching. So we're going to draw an imaginary line from his hip all the way down to his toes. And I want you asking yourself, where is his knee in relation to that line? Okay, just do a squat for me here. So what do you think? You guys can see pretty good on this side. You guys can see kind of over here. Does his knee look like it's on that line? I think it looks pretty good from back here anyways. Okay, it doesn't matter where your toes are as long as your knee goes with it. Okay, what you don't want to see is knees go in and toes go out. Because that probably doesn't look very good, right? Doesn't feel very good. Okay, so I want my toes, my knees, and my hips all in a nice straight line. That's the one thing that we can all be doing to help protect our knees. Anything you do. Okay, that's number one. Number two is going to be for back. So if you turn around for me now this time.
Yep.
Okay, we'll just do a squat again to keep it simple. I'm going to draw a line through his hips here, so you can kind of lose the top of the pants or the belt line. One line through the middle of the shoulders.
Yeah, style points, but maybe
Oh, there we go. I like the belt too.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to draw two lines here. When he's squatting down, I want the distance between those two lines to stay the same the entire time. Okay, so go ahead for me. So as he's squatting down, if his bum starts to go this way or his back starts to round that way, those two lines get farther apart, he's rounding his back. Okay, if those two lines get closer together, he's arching his back. Pretend you're lifting something up, putting in the cupboard up. Okay, he's lifting up overhead. Same two lines. What you might see is him go into extension, so the two lines get closer together. So it doesn't matter at all what you're doing. Those two lines, same distance apart. Okay, the whole time. And that's going to help back health for absolutely everybody. Third one for shoulders. Okay, he's lifting something up again. You're going to draw, you're going to face this way.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to draw a line through the shoulders, line through the ears. As he's lifting up, I want those two lines, same distance apart again. Okay, so you're lifting up for me. Okay, I don't want to see that happen. I'm sitting at my desk working. You guys are sitting at your desk. What tends to happen? This. Okay, we got to stay low. So every once in a while, just as a reminder, breathe. Let it all out. Okay, keep those shoulders away from the ears. Thank you. Those three things, it can have a massive difference. If I reflect on the impact that we've had, in the fire service alone over the past 10 years, the biggest thing that's made a difference is this. Because it matters everywhere. This isn't just exercise. This is how we perform every single day. Okay, and if we think that, I don't know how to exercise, if you start here and just anything you're doing, just think about these three things, that's a great place to start. Okay, we can keep it really simple. Because one of the other barriers that people have to exercise, it's too complicated. I don't know how to do all this stuff. Let's give them some simple resources, some simple tools, some simple information that can make a massive difference. Third step, so we said we need to inspire a change in the attitude. Then, after we've got them to buy in, we can inform them on some of this stuff that we know to be important. Third step, let's empower them. This isn't about them using us all the time. This is about them empowering, so they can change their own behavior. That I view as step number 3. This is kind of a weird transition, right? If we all think, what are some of the things that really bring us all together that are common across the board? I think these are some of those things. We all do this on a daily basis. So if we're thinking about how do we use exercise on a general scale, how do we make that matter for everybody? Well, if we look at these different tasks, there's certain degrees of mobility that are going to be needed for everybody. So we might all have different interests and different demands on our life and play different sports and like different types of exercise or physical activity, but we all do this stuff. If you don't have the mobility to do these things, quality of life is going down. So some of the stuff that we're working on is this idea of self-care. And I'm going to have, maybe Kyle come up and help me again here. I want to give you guys some tools tonight that you can take home and actually check on yourselves, or after we're done, that you can check to see if you have the requisite mobility to perform just some of these activities of daily living. So if you're a yes on this or a no on this, doesn't make you a good person or a bad person. It just says you need these things versus you need these things. So this one you can do out in the open, or you can do against a wall. What we're going to be doing, so if you imagine there being a wall, just so they can see it, just right here. So imagine there being a wall. You're going to push your knee as far forwards as you can to that wall. Okay, so imagine, my knee or my leg here is that wall. So try and touch your knee to my knee. Perfect. So he can touch. He's going to continue to back his foot up and try and touch the wall. He's going as far as back as he can. We're trying to see how much dorsiflexion, ankle dorsiflexion he has. His goal is to get 10 centimeters away from the wall. Okay, so he's going to keep backing the foot up. If he can keep touching my leg while the heel stays down on the ground,
no.
Oh, he can't touch anymore. So we would then measure that distance. If he's over 10, he's good to perform activities of daily living. If he can't, he needs some more ankle dorsiflexion, and then we can give him some solutions to address that. You're gonna make a fist, okay, thumb inside. Okay, hand up above your head. Just turn around for everybody. Okay, so the question here is going to become in one smooth motion, can you get your fist down past C7? Anybody know how to palpate C7?
Big bump right there.
Yep, so if you tilt your head forwards, just think about the biggest bony prominence. Okay, if you can get your fist past that, you're good. If you can't, well, I shouldn't say you're good. If you can get it past, you're in this category. If you can't get it past, you're in this one. So you can have an immediate impact on quality of life, activities of daily living, just by touching on mobility. Okay, fourth one. I really think that, from my experience, giving some people some challenges help to facilitate growth and long-term adherence to whatever it is that we're doing. And challenges look different to different people, but giving them a bit of a carrot to say, I'm seeing progress here, that keeps me engaged. Okay, so we've inspired them, we've informed them, we've given them some things to empower them. Now we can challenge them to continue to reinforce it. And like I said, challenge can look different to different people. So this is just an example, working on the movement hygiene. Notice that we have some hip stuff going on. This is sitting at a park, grab a bunch of friends. As the challenge, it's I need to dedicate 5 minutes of fun, 5 minutes to my mobility on a daily basis. Okay, something simple. Music's optional. Okay, second one, because it's having options. Again, music's optional. This situation here is just an example. So for 5 minutes in a row, I was rotating in a circle, going from a plank to a side plank every single 30 seconds, progressively making things more challenging. So the challenge, again, 5 minutes. Can you perform an activity like this, regressing as we need to? So again, just to keep people engaged. Maybe I can't get the whole 5 minutes this time, but with practice, now I can. So again, we're getting people engaged in the long term.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here.
Knees if you need
Take
to.
a break. I'm a hot
Too easy, push your hands forward, push your elbows forwards.
with the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like the room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got, don't hold back.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine.
Alternating legs.
No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what
5,
happiness
4,
is to you.
3,
Because
2,
I'm happy.
1.
Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high to bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I
3,
said,
2, 1.
if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Coming up on halfway.
Clap along if you feel like a
5,
room without a
4,
roof.
3, 2,
Clap
1.
along
Left
if
hand,
you feel
left
like
hand.
happiness is the
Go
truth.
to the ground if you'd like to, or lift up your top leg.
If you know what happiness
can't keep your hand or put your arm in that position.
Happiness is the truth. Because clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like
Top leg up.
happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. Take a
4,
break.
3, 2, 1. Get your hands down, feet coming off the ground. All your hands are like they're in coming off the ground.
Yeah, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here comes bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got, don't hold it back.
Go to knees if you have to. Keep moving.
I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine.
Push, push, push.
No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room.
Just to kind of highlight the whole title of the talk, the way you move can change your life. I really think going back to more people, more active, more often, there are little things that we can all be doing, from sharing information, from trying to empower with various activities, to challenging in certain ways, to really get them thinking that the way I move on a daily basis can make a massive difference.